Alex Kidman, and for years I've wanted to own a pinball machine, but owning a pinball machine in Australia is a difficult proposition for two basic reasons. One, they're very big and very heavy, but two, they're very expensive. A halfway decent second-hand pinball machine is going to cost you anywhere from $5,000 upwards. I mean, I'd love to have one of those shiny new Stern Godzilla pinball machines, for example, but realistically, I can't afford one. I just can't quite justify that price point, and I don't really have the space. What I do have with me is the Arcade 1-Up Attack from Mars pinball machine, which is your compromise option. It's a digital pinball machine, but a physical machine about 3/4 size, as you can see here. It has some big benefits over a traditional pinball machine and a few drawbacks. So let's get into those. Let's talk about the positives first of all. So it is more affordable than your regular pinball machine. Now, you're still going to pay in Australia somewhere north of about $1,000, somewhere between about $1,100 to $1,500 is usual. It's well worth shopping around, as always, of course, because they're all the same machine, no matter who you get them from. So try and get as good a price as you can. That's still a fair amount to lay down on a machine, but you're not just getting one machine. You're getting 10 of them. Now, this is the Arcade 1-Up Attack from Mars machine, which runs with 10 different classic Williams tables. Arcade 1-Up also do a model with a bunch of Marvel tables, and there's also another model with a bunch of Star Wars tables. So it depends on what takes your fancy. I quite like your classic pinballs, which is why I went for this particular model. Now, I would not have space for 10 pinball tables in my house. I barely have space for one, to be honest. So actually getting the 10 in there, it's a nice little bonus. What about the actual playstyle? Well, look, here there's some good news and some bad news. Because the key thing that everyone always asks is it just like real pinball? And the simple answer is, no, it's not. It can't. It's a digital representation of pinball. But it's very, very close. It has little solenoids in the side which kick when you go over the bumpers or over the flippers, so you get a bit of force feedback, and that adds a surprising amount to the game. It makes it faster, it makes it feel more fluid, and pretty quickly you get sucked into that illusion of, hey, I'm actually playing this real table. And some of the tables are some of my favourites. Obviously, you get Attack from Mars, that's kind of the flagship, that's what Fiddle Art from. We also get tables like Medieval Madness and Getaway and Roadshow. Tables I really, really like. Now, there are some that I'm less keen on. I'm not so keen on Hurricane, for example. Okay, that's 1 out of 10, and it's still there, and it's still perfectly playable. So you get all of that. But at the same time, there are some downsides. So first of all, let's talk about build quality. I was a little bit disappointed out of the box. The building process of this is actually pretty neat. It's more or less IKEA furniture level stuff. But no sooner had I switched it on, powered it up, got it running, in the middle of playing a game of Medieval Madness, I hit the plunger, went twing, and the entire screen here went out, the backboard screen went up in blue, and nothing would work. And it took me a little bit of digging around to discover that what often happens in this case is that there's a loose cable inside the cabinet here. Now, the good news is it's not impossible to get inside that cabinet. It's totally a doable thing. How do I know? Because I did it. I very quickly found out that one of the connector cables between the select button and the screen had popped out. Presumably, it was loose in transit, and me hitting the plunger was enough to shake it completely loose. Quickly plugged it back in, and it's been running pretty well ever since. I say pretty well because there's a known issue with these machines. The original firmware that launches with them, Whitewater, one of the tables on here, does not play very well at all. Now, Arcade 1-Up do have a download that you can apply. It's a little bit of a process, but it's not impossible if you've built the machine to run through it and get it updated. And once it's updated, it runs much, much better. The elephant in the room, though, is whether or not it's worth that price. And that sort of depends on a couple of factors. For a start, if you can afford real pinball, if you want real pinball, this isn't quite it. The illusion is quite good, but there are some limitations. The display screen is set to 720p. Apparently, it's capable of 1080p, like the panel is, but the machine itself doesn't do that. I think that's a bit of a... So if you want that absolutely real arcade pinball experience, you're going to need a physical pinball machine. The real elephant in the room for me, though, is the matter of the fact that it's using Zen Pinball. This is how they can do the Marvel and the Star Wars ones, because those are the Zen Pinball Marvel and Star Wars tables. You're not getting the existing Stern, Deadpool tables, for example. you're not getting the existing Star Wars tables that have been made over many years. You're getting the Zen Pinball ones. And of course, that's a platform that's across everything. PCs and consoles and handhelds. There's so many places you can get Zen Pinball. If you just want that experience, yeah, you can get that on your tablet or anything else you care to name across a whole bunch of different platforms, way cheaper than this. It's not quite the same thing, and I've got a lot of experience with Zen Pinball. I like it a lot. And playing this has given me a slightly different skill set. I enjoy this in a slightly different way, just because of that physical interaction. But you can totally do it. The other missed factor I feel here is that you can't add new tables. And that mystifies me because Zen sells additional tables. Adding a cheap little Wi-Fi module or even a ruddy network port to this thing would not have added significant cost. And then they have a platform from which you can say, right, well, maybe there's only storage for 10 tables. The tables themselves aren't huge, I don't think. But maybe there's only storage for 10 tables, but maybe I don't want those tables. Maybe I want some other tables. Here, I'll give you some money and supply me with these tables. Everyone wins in that equation, but that's not the road they've gone down. These are fixed on the 10 tables. Yes, I'm aware there's a slightly dodgy hack. You can dump the other tables onto these machines if you really must. But that's not an officially sanctioned thing, and of course that's not going to take into consideration future Zen Pinball tables or future upgrades, which would have been a lovely path for them to go down, but they didn't. So is it worth it? Well, look, it depends. If you really only want to lightly dip your toes into the waters of pinball, no. Grab Zen Pinball somewhere else. That'll probably give you your pinball fix. If you really like pinball, though, and especially if you can't justify having the full weight of the machines, the full cost of the machines, even the full noise, because a fully run physical pinball machine is a noisy beast, and I certainly could not have one of those in my living room. It'd drive my family nuts if I was playing it at night. One of the things I do like about this is that you can turn almost all the sound off if you want to play some late night, and then all you've really got is the click, clack, of the buttons as they go. Nothing more. But you could avoid all of that with this machine. Do I think I'll get good value out of it? Yeah, I do. It actually fills my need, my desires for a pinball table. For now, I mean, if anyone at Stern is listening, you can send me one of those Godzillas. I'll review it. I'm not proud. But, that being said, this is a pretty good little bit of kit. It's nicely built, it's solid, and above all, it's fun. And if nothing else, pinball should be fun. Anyway, that's my take. Got any thoughts on pinball? Got one of these and got an opinion? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe. All that good stuff.